Not a lot of people use the ruby route while ocean fishing, which is a shame because it's actually a pretty good route, especially for new fishers and during Mogtome events. You see, of the two ocean fishing routes as of writing, most people go on the indigo route because it has a reputation for having much higher scoring potential, with records being well north of 50,000 points. But even a consistent 30,000 trip run can be difficult to achieve and require a lot of specific knowledge, understanding of routes, and luck to pull off. Now, with the ruby route, you may not see scores go as high as the indigo route, but it is much easier to learn and to get consistent scores on as well. The ruby route's fishing pools are much more clear-cut on defining the high point fish. If you can identify one or two fish based on time and tug type, then you are likely to be able to do quite well scoring-wise. Additionally, a lot of key fish for voyage missions are also easily identifiable. On top of that all, the point difference between a bad point fish and a good point fish is much smaller than the indigo route, meaning it's not as wide of a scoring range per fish. So you can usually do better on average with a little bit less effort. This makes newer, less experienced fishers more likely to do well and to do well more reliably. It's just an easier route to learn. Compared to Indigo's routes, target fish for both scoring and voyage missions aren't usually as clear-cut or as common biting. They're not necessarily on the ideal bait for spectrals. If you want to fish optimally, you have to do a little bit of bait juggling, and there's just a lot more to learn and handle and consider. Now, there is that downside to the ruby route. If you are going for high scores, like you want to see really big numbers, you're not likely to find that on the ruby route. You're also more reliant on spectral currents for points. Missing just one spectral current does hurt a little bit more than if you miss a spectral current on the indigo route, but those spectral fish on the ruby route are easier to spot and are more likely to be caught, so it kind of balances out. Overall, if you're new to fishing or just struggling on the ruby route to score points, or maybe you just want some quick Mogtomes during one of the Moogle events, consider the ruby route. Yeah, there aren't as many people queuing for that route, but I think that's just because folks don't realize how much easier it is to do well on. Overall, if you're new to fishing or struggling on the indigo route, or just feel like you're kind of inexperienced, maybe you're just a casual fisher, that's fine. Maybe you also just want some quick Mogtomes during one of the Moogle events, consider the ruby route. Yeah, there aren't going to be as many people queuing for it, but I think that's just because people don't realize how much easier it is to do okay on. If you're new to ocean fishing or maybe just didn't like it when you were doing the indigo routes, consider starting on the ruby route instead of the indigo routes. Have a decent resource. I recommend oceanfishing.boats by Tyo'to Tayuun, link below, and give it a whirl. And you might find that you just do a little bit better and have a little bit more fun.